Hey, it's your old pal Slim, and this is 70 Millimeter, a podcast for film lovers. Every Monday, I'm joined by dear friend and artist Danny Haas.
I need the person whose decision was to shave off Momoa's beard fired. He looked like a baked potato in the poop suit.
And our spiritual advisor, Protolexis.
When you have the biggest event since the resurrection of Jesus Christ, there's no way you're not going to have a sequel to it.
And together as friends forever, we discuss recently watched movies. In the second half of this episode, we're focusing on the biggest release since Star Wars The Force Awakens, Dune. Is this a 5-banger or a dud without an ending? Let's hold hands and find out together. Dune is here. It's time. I'm just going to throw out a few quotes that I saw in reviews ahead of this episode. Quote, better than Star Wars.
Scandalous.
Who said that?
I'm not going to name names. This is a safe zone for Dune.
Someone said that?
Someone said that. Better than Star Wars. This is my Matrix.
Someone said that too?
Yeah.
That was the same
In
person?
One sentence?
No, separate people said this.
I still want them both banned.
So I'm just going to set the stage. This is probably the biggest episode in show history. We're probably going to have people checking us out. Dune, love Dune. I got to see what these folks are saying about Dune. Pardo, what's your emotional state? You grew up on the Dune books, and at the bottom of the hour, we're going to get into Dune 2021.
A page of Dune was put into my morning cereal for 3 years. I ate the entire book. It's a part of me. So this is a big moment.
So we put a poll on Instagram. Have you seen Dune? Polling the audience. We have a vibrant Instagram audience. 70mm pod on Instagram. Check us out. 70% said yes.
Wow.
How many times have you seen Dune ahead of this recording, Danny?
I will say I probably have seen it 4 times.
4 times?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Should we hear Danny's rating right now for Dune?
Wait, how many times in theater?
Once in theater, every other time on HBO Max.
Oh my gosh.
My
old
initial
bathtub.
viewing was the IMAX.
There's no need
theater.
for a prayer circle. Jason in chat from Dune Pod. He's asking to sage the room ahead of these ratings. You're safe right now, according to what I just heard. Gom Jabbar.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get into that at the bottom of the hour. But before we do that, I do want to talk about one thing that I saw. I don't think we've talked about on this show, but someone watched a 4K disc of Psycho, the OG. Can we get into this, please, and tell me how this experience was?
So I would say Psycho sat on my top 4 for a long time. I honestly, once we get back out of spooky season, it might come back in my top 4. Watching, I bought the 60th anniversary 4K uncut Psycho, and from what I read real quickly on the back, the uncut was the original theatrical release that Hitchcock wanted, and I believe they recut it for a wider audience for a shorter film or something. I can't remember. I don't know. But what I will say is this 4K transfer is incredible. There were moments where I was watching it with Casey, who also loves Psycho as much as me. And I think there's probably just moments where I've made a noise just because of what I was looking at. The quality, and
Could you make it for us?
it was kind of like, something like that on the lines of that.
You cut out. What was it?
Yeah, you have to listen back. I don't know if I can do that again. We're going to get Slam.
I just got word. We just got kicked off of Discord.
Yeah. I just couldn't, from the first shot where it like pans into her apartment and they're talking, and I couldn't get over how good the quality of this 4K was. And I don't know if I remember, I didn't really catch what was cut out from previous viewings. I think maybe just stuff was trimmed for time, but it's gorgeous. And it's a really great, it was a good time. It's one of my favorite movies ever. I just love this movie a lot. So if you have the means to pick up a 4K of Psycho, I definitely recommend it because it's an impressive transfer.
So this was like a separate Psycho release because isn't there a bundle disc that has a few of the
there's one with like Vertigo and Rear Window and Psycho and probably another one, probably Birds most likely, 3 of those. What I got was a steel book that I believe was released at Best Buy for the 60th.
Man alive. Psycho.
It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
How come your wife, Casey, will watch the movie Psycho, but she won't go on a ghost hunt with us to a haunted house so that we can get things mixed up? You know?
It's the fact that ghosts are real and Psycho is not.
Mm-hmm. She's afraid of like an entity attaching to her.
She's not going to mess with the paranormal in real life. Correct. I will. I'll touch.
Have to close the loop.
She'll mess with psychos though.
Yeah. She's married me. So
I remember watching that movie recently and being so weirded out that she gets in the shower before turning the water on.
That's the most psychotic moment in the movie.
She puts her head under the spout and then turns it on.
Right. Nobody does that but a psycho. Maybe
does she take cold showers? If she takes cold showers, that's perfect.
No, because that was a steamy scene in more ways than one.
It gets steamy.
And emotionally. Yeah, there's steam in that room.
Man, there's an amazing shot. The shot where after all that scene is over and she's hanging out of the bathtub and it pans out from her eye to her leaning over the tub. Man, what a shot in 4K. Mm-hmm. Impressively good. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
I heard Hitchcock shot it with 4K in mind.
Yeah. No, he was that much of a visionary. Yeah.
Cut the stream. Delete photo from the chat.
Come on.
Real quick, before we hear about any other movies, I do want to say hello to some new friends this week to our Patreon. $4 a month, you can get access to our Discords, listen to us live as we record this, and also our exclusive episodes in the 70mm vault that aren't available to the regular public. Harakiri just dropped. Matrix 2 just dropped. Trevor, Andy, Jamie, Isabella, Alex, and Brandon all joined this past week. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Let me talk about one more 4K real quick that I watched for the first time.
Okay.
The Shining in 4K. It is incredibly good. I could not get over it. And I talked Casey into watching it with me finally. She had been dodging watching this with me for a long time. It's incredible in 4K as well. There's these older films shot I don't know. There's just something about these transfers of these older films that are just looking absolutely incredible in 4K. Mm-hmm. It's something special. Like I enjoy watching older films grainy and stuff like that. Like it doesn't bother me, but man, to see it kind of crisp and, Kubrick would be all over having a 4K transfer of The Shining.
Baby.
It's probably because they shot on film, right? They just shot on expensive film and that's just transfers so well.
Yeah, and I saw in theaters the 4K transfer, the release of 2001, which is another insanely gorgeous movie. But The Shining is something incredible, and I love that movie.
All work and no play make proud of it. Dull boy.
There it is.
Man, remember Nicholson in that staircase?
Yeah.
That scene, never forget.
He's like, what was that jacket he had on? That like red
that
velour?
It's like
suede.
Suede?
Corduroy.
Many fabrics can we name?
Just name them all. We'll get it.
Oh, God. Eyes Wide Shut in 4K will require an ID to purchase.
That's an
disgusting.
all-time Letterboxd review of yours too, Slim.
Yeah.
Let's see. We do give away a free year of Letterboxd Pro. So if you want to read my Eyes Wide Shut R-rated review without ads popping up, share the show on social media and you get a chance to win a free year of Letterboxd Pro, no ads. This week's winner, Miss Jess R on Twitter. Free year of Letterboxd Pro. Congratulations.
Congrats.
She sent out a quote tweet this week
Oh my.
about our most recent episode, Suspiria.
Oh,
Sorry
gosh.
to Slim and Danny, but this episode was Proto's time to shine.
Mm,
Personal fave lines included, "You just gotta go with the vibe, man."
mm.
And the ruthless, "No, you had your moment, Danny."
All-time.
He had a good show.
Great show. Great time listening to that Goblin soundtrack.
Mm.
Who posted the Goblin vinyl in Discord this week?
Someone has it.
Is that Ben?
It's gorgeous.
Who was that? Show yourself again, please.
Coward.
Proto, did you watch any movies this week?
I did. There's one movie that I have to talk about. I watched The Innocents.
Mm.
Oh.
Jack Clayton directed from 1961. It's based on the book The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. Man, I gave this 5 stars. This was an experience. This is a special horror movie to me. And I know we gave our top 5 horror movies last week, but breaking, I have to update. This is now in my top 5.
Wow.
Oni Baba is
What?
out. I had to put it in. This movie is just so good. And I wrote this long review. I just felt like I wanted to talk to someone about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to talk to myself. So I wrote, a longer review. I hadn't felt this way probably about a movie in the story since I watched the original The Fly, where I love that story too. But yeah, it's just brilliant. Some of the things, it feels so modern. I won't spoil anything, but just the presentation of the character Jessel is amazing. Just every scene that she was involved in, loved it. Yeah, highly recommend this.
Man.
Yeah, I remember watching this. We bought the Blu-ray, and because this wasn't on the Criterion last year when I had to track it down, it was hard to find. It wasn't even on YouTube. But some of the scenes in there, I thought are like genuinely frightening, and let alone in the 60s. People must be pooping themselves seeing this movie back then.
Yeah. It's also written by Truman Capote, which, I know the name, of course.
Ever heard of him?
Philip Seymour Hoffman movie. He has In Cold Blood, the famous book. But yeah, just seeing him flex on us in this adaptation.
Capote. I think it's pronounced Capote.
Capote.
No, I have no idea.
Don't listen to that, please.
Please, God, don't trust me on that.
Has he ever lied to us before?
It's true.
For anyone, there's probably some Netflix fans out there. The Haunting of Bly House is based on the same work as The Innocents. So take that for what you will.
Yeah, I saw Proto's review come in for it, and then I saw that you had also, Slim, gave it 5 stars. So I turned it on while I was working. And then I got like maybe 10 minutes into it. I'm like, I can't do this while I'm working. I'm already needing to have a sit down with this movie. So I stopped it. Hopefully going to jump back in this weekend to watch the whole thing. Cause I was just I really enjoyed the beginning, and I kept like, God damn, I got to work. So I stopped it. So I need to give this a good watch through. Cause I'm excited.
I'm anxious to see what you think. Anything else, Berto?
Only other thing I'll mention is I finally watched the Wolfman from 1941. I think that was the last one I needed to watch of the Universal Monsters.
Nice.
I gave it 3 stars. I really love the whole werewolf thing. I'm just gonna watch more of these movies. I know Danny didn't love this. I thought it was okay. It's just like the main actor is just so bad. He's like one of the worst castings I've ever seen. So it's hard for that reason. But there is a Bela Lugosi cameo in this, which is really good. Yeah. Our boy.
I will say my biggest biggest gripe was not just the actor, the character itself. He was just an a-hole. Like
Oh yeah.
even
Total
how he was
creep.
written as, he's just like I was like, oh, I don't even know how to like pull for that guy. Like I was like, oh, should I be, I don't know how to act watching this movie. And I just really hated that guy.
Where are your earrings? What earring? The ones you were wearing. I saw you in the window wearing. I was watching you. Like
creep. Oh man. Yeah. I didn't enjoy it. You're right. But I'm glad you got to watch all the movie monsters. That's fun. It's a good time.
Wasn't the Invisible Man also a creep? Weren't a few of the leads in these movies like
a little psychotic, that guy.
He was just crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I want to talk about anything before we get into Dan? Real quick, I watched The Passionate Friends.
Oh yeah.
On the Criterion, 1949. This was top 4 for an upcoming Letterboxd show episode. David Lean, you might remember that name. Roberto's Journey.
Mm-hmm.
And what else did he do? Lawrence of Arabia. Let's see, a woman is torn between the love of her life who is married to someone else and her older husband. So Ann Todd is the lead. Claude Rains is in this. And Trevor Howard. And I watched this. You know, it's about the main character is kind of, she had a relationship with this one guy, but she married Claude Rains for like money and stability, etc. They have like a respect for each other. But she's still like, she meets up with this guy years later and they have a tryst and are found out. And then 9 years later, they happen to be staying at the same hotel room next to each other. So they have like this kind of day out, this weekend out.
God.
And she's thrown back into these feelings of like, oh God, did I make the right decision? And I gave it 5 stars. I watched it twice. I watched it the first time for the show and I'm like, I think I kind of want to watch this again. Never been done.
Excuse me.
And I watched it again. I couldn't get over how they conveyed the regret in the lead actress. There are so many shots in it where the camera just shows her in a moment with her husband or in a moment at home where she's thinking, did I make a mistake? And it's like this long 30-second shot of just her sitting thinking. And I was just really taken aback by that. Also, the ending is insane. Another thing, I like 1949. I called out my review, but the ending involves something that I thought is extremely bold for 1949 and still holds up today, in my opinion. I thought it was fantastic.
Wow!
I got to fire this up.
Yeah,
it's on Criterion.
It's on the Criterion channel right now.
If I may, Slim, you also saw another movie. You saw Edgar Wright's new movie this week.
I did.
Last night in Soho. And I have to say, I read your review. I was pretty perturbed. He didn't give any stars. And I was really ready to go off on you about this. You're complaining about being the first person in your group of friends to see a movie. You felt like it was daunting to leave a rating. You have like this out about being on the Letterboxd show and you're not going to give a star rating. Very just I'm just thinking coward. Right. That's what I was thinking. I was ready just to, say all these things that I'm saying right now. But then I thought, you know what? I need to give Slim time to grow. I think you could grow into being someone who won't have that fear, who will be brave in these moments and give their rating. So I just want to say, just think about that.
Carl, we are just categorically different in that respect. If you were on the Letterboxd show, you were having Edgar Wright's new movie, you're the first one, you would have no issues dropping a 1 star. 2 star.
I mean, I was like, is Edgar going to be on the show? I'm ready.
All I'll say about that review, I mean, Marcy gave it 3 stars. What's more to say in our Discord? Speaks for itself.
Settled.
It's over.
But I had a great time. I went to the Philadelphia Film Center.
Nice.
I had a secret screening. I'm so out of the loop on the film. The inner workings of Center City, Philadelphia, and film groups, film businesses, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but when I got there, I said I was there for the Soho screening, and I probably should have kept my mouth shut because I think it was a secret screening for members. And it's probably like a popular thing in memberships where, they have secret screenings. I think Small Tony goes to Music Box in Chicago, and I think he's mentioned secret screenings before, but I have no idea what the F a secret screening is. I'm laying on my floor watching HBO Max every night. But then they had like someone introduce the movie, and they're like, oh, it's, thanks for coming. Thanks for being members. It's a best kept secret in town, but we're watching Last Night in Soho.
Up until 5 minutes ago. Best kept secret.
And I wondered, like, I guess there's word of mouth in the memberships and the groups that like, oh, I heard we might be watching, Last Night in Soho tonight or something like that. But I just thought it was a pretty cool experience that I kind of want to be a part of those groups, like the memberships and like, what's that experience like? Everyone just shows up Monday night for a movie in Philadelphia, and they don't know what it is. That idea is like crazy to me,
Yeah.
What if it's a movie you don't want to see?
Yeah.
This is the big release this year. Simultaneous day and date release on HBO Max, much to the chagrin of many industry insiders. And this has been delayed for so long. We tried to scoop our friends at Dune Pod, but you know what? It felt right to let things simmer, let things marinate, gestate in our Discord, get all those reviews out there, all those rewatches. And this is our moment now. Denis Villeneuve's Dune. Proto, what is this movie?
Before I give the synopsis, I know a lot of people feel a lot of tension right now, a lot of anxiety. They're nervous. So I wrote a few jokes. So I'm gonna start with a joke right now, and just get everybody feeling relaxed. So knock knock.
Who's there?
Shy.
Shy who?
God damn.
Now, Slim Producer, I'm going to need you just to put the shout out Mapes over me singing it at that moment, just so it like time it perfectly.
Please.
See what I can do.
So I wrote a little poem for the summary. Our story begins with a boy named Paul, who lives on the planet Caladan. His family is moving to a place called Arrakis. It's known for its worms and sand. It's also got this stuff called melange or spice. It makes space travel super easy. But the planet is full of people called the Fremen, who spit a lot and might make you queasy. Daddy Atreides is scared of the Baron, who could attack at any hour. Harkonnens are ruthless and ugly and stupid, but Daddy has a plan. Desert power. Betrayed by a Yui, Paul and Mom are hunted, sent to the desert to die. Paul can snort the spice and see giant buttholes, maybe? Hard to say. He was high. Dad is dead and Mom is preggers. Paul, a Fremen weeb. But before you are the Kwisatz Haderach, you must first be Muad'Dib. Dune.
Talk about stage.
The poet is back. He's back. Took 80 episodes, but he's back.
Unreal.
The hype for this moment. Now, I'm not talking about the movie, the hype for this moment of the show.
Yeah.
Our reviews have been hidden, ratings hidden, but everything's been leading to this moment. The movie is out. Everyone's seen it. Danny's seen it 5 times by now.
Mm-hmm.
Proto, you grew up on these books. What was your experience? You saw this in theaters, right? You didn't watch it at home.
I did. Yeah, so Jenna and I, JR Scrolling on Letterboxd, went to see this. We saw it in the IMAX on Saturday night. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I saw this in the IMAX because I watched it in the IMAX and then I did watch it at home. And I'm here to say Denny was right. It's a different experience.
Wow.
It's a different experience. And I'm glad that I can say, I can tell my children, my grandchildren, I was there. I was
That
there to see it in
moment.
the theater. Yep.
Phew. What did Jenna think?
I really wanted to record her thoughts. That was the plan. After we get out, we record, but the kids, the babysitter, we had to pick up the kids. And then after that, Jenna, she just kind of lost steam. So I would still love to sit down and talk to her about it. But I will say she's not a 5-star. I'm going to say that now. She's not a 5-star. Yeah. What did she say?
Is she a 4-star?
She had some complaints. I don't know. She didn't give me a firm answer. She's usually like a 1-star or a 5-star. It's either good or bad.
I respect that.
So I'm not, but I think she was leaning somewhere in the middle, but I don't know what the middle is for her.
Just stay tuned to next week to get Jenna's official thoughts on Dune.
Could be my special guest.
Oh, I forgot. Later in the show, Danny is going to announce his movie, but then also a guest that Proto and I have no idea is for next week. That's right. We don't know who the guest is next week. It's never happened on a podcast before. Shock guest.
Yeah.
What about you, Danny? You saw the preview. You went to theaters to see the preview, and you're sitting down in the IMAX. Walk us through it.
After the preview, I think we recorded around that time, and maybe even that night. I was impressed by what I saw for the preview, what Hans was doing. So coming into the IMAX, I went to my favorite IMAX theater here in Orlando, the Point Orlando Regal. Incredible screen, incredible sound. And I was really excited, like super excited for this movie. Then it started.
It delivered. Is that what you're about to say? It delivered.
Oh, no, that's not what I was about to say. Don't put words in my mouth, please.
On the fifth viewing, it delivered. Let's see. So I, notoriously was saying I'm going to sit at home, eat a chicky parm, get a strawberry smooth oat milk smoothie from Wawa. There's the image in chat. It didn't happen, though. I had a very busy week, could not weasel in my original plans at home. So I went over to Amanda. I was like, what do you think about me going to see Dune in theaters tonight? And then she said, I don't give a fuck. So I went to see it in IMAX, partially because I didn't know what my review was going to be. But if I gave it a negative review, everyone wouldn't shut the F up about me seeing it at home and giving it a negative review.
100%.
So I wanted to shut them up fast.
Shut them up.
In a preempt them, the whining. So I saw it in theaters and went to the Regal, and I saw it in IMAX. My first note for Dune and the balls of Denny to put part 1 under the title when allegedly this wasn't greenlit. There's no way.
No way.
He's putting part 1 under the title card if this wasn't back of the envelope, backdoor hand shook with Legendary. You're going to get this. 100%. This is happening, right? Like this we got scammed. 100%. We got scammed. Legendary, the only thing I can think of is if Legendary to him was like, don't worry, you make like $50 million box office US, you got it in the bag.
Yeah.
And then maybe that's why he got so annoyed with HBO Max saying like, oh, actually, we're going to stream this same day. So maybe he's like, well, my guarantee for part 2 is now in question. What do you think, Danny?
I had this like theory that if there was no way coming into this movie coming out that 2 was an already greenlit. You couldn't tell me that watching this movie. Because this was just a long trailer for the second movie.
It's a half movie.
And so my theory was that they announced the part 2 because of not great numbers of the weekend box office. You know what I mean? Like instead of people knowing that a second one's coming out, let's just keep lying to everybody and saying, we don't know yet. But if they knew it was coming, I feel like less people would have went to the theaters right away to see it.
So then they would be like, well, actually, I don't need to spend money. I can just sit
like
at
a
home.
rope-a-dope.
When you have the biggest event since the resurrection of Jesus Christ, there's no way you're not going to have a sequel to it. There's just no way it's not happening. So, and they saw this movie before we did.
Mm-hmm.
They were group testing this. It was in the bag.
I'm just saying, like, my overall thought at the end of this movie, there's no way part 2 was not guaranteed by the end of this movie. Everyone at Warner Brothers saw this movie and they were like, part 2 isn't happening.
Yeah, right.
There's no way this thing stands on its own as its own movie, in my opinion. So that's
Zendaya is in more of the trailer than she is in the movie.
Yeah, I feel like I remember people saying like, "Oh, this is Zendaya's movie. This is more about her than anyone else."
Right.
She's
not
in like
this
5
movie.
minutes of
She's
this
not in
movie.
Danny, what's first on your list? You've seen this 5 times. Let's get into it. Dune, 2021, Denny, Zendaya.
My first notes. Here's the thing. My first notes don't really start until the Paul Duke convo in the graveyard area. Because that's when I first kind of felt like, oh, this is good. Like, this is the only moment in the movie also where I had any sort of emotional feeling. Like, everything else was just kind of flatlined. This conversation with the dad is like the only time when I was just kind of like, this gets me a little bit emotional. Him having this father-son conversation, which is a great conversation, and Oscar is amazing at it.
A great man doesn't seek to lead. He's called to it, and he answers. And if your answer is no, you'll still be the only thing I ever needed you to be. My son.
And that's just kind of where it begins for me. I think any of my praise for this movie kind of comes to the visual aspects of this film, not so much the story per se, but I think a lot of the win for this movie is the design of ships, the locations, the music, the color choices. Like, there's a lot that went into making this film that makes it the success better than, for me, the Dune story itself. Because when it gets to like the end of this film, I kind of was bummed out every time I watched it, because one of my biggest notes in this is there's no climax in this film. There's just a lot of flatline kind of storytelling throughout the whole thing. There's great moments, but there's not like a climax, and there's not like an ending. And that's what frustrates me, I think, the most. That's my biggest note.
Yeah, it's half a movie.
It is.
It's
really
half a
is.
story.
It's yeah. And I don't know that it had to feel like half a story. Especially when we're being told that this might not get a sequel. Like,
imagine a world where there's only one Dune movie, and this was the ending.
This is the only one that's not possible.
Wow, what a story. They just walk off into the desert.
I mean, remember, the one thing I can think of is, remember when Halo 2 came out and they couldn't finish the game? And the ending was like Master Chief saying, "Let's finish the fight," and it just ends? Like, this doesn't work on its own, in my opinion.
I think, like, well, could this be avoided in any way? And I think it could have been if Villeneuve took the approach of adapting the story to a film and not adapting the book to a film. Because that's what it feels like. He's being true to the book, which is cool in a sense, but it doesn't make for the greatest viewing experience, because it's just, it feels very weird watching this, because even Dune, it doesn't have like a good breaking point. It's broken into 3 books. So this is, I think it's somewhere in like middle of 2. So it's like kind of halfway, but there's no natural ending point for it. So he could have totally adapted the story to be a single movie, 2.5 hours long, and told a complete story in the same way that David Lynch did. And if he did that, of course it would have been an amazing movie, right? Like, I have no doubts that he couldn't have made an amazing single movie. But I think Danny is totally right that, like, there's so much in this that is so, like, me reading the book and just following it in my mind and seeing scene after scene realized in amazing ways is, like, I couldn't have asked for a better development of the costumes, the ship design, the look and feel of this movie is just absolute killer. Like it's just like it's an imagining of the story that is, I don't know how you could have asked for something cooler than this.
And I'm glad sorry, real quick. I'm glad you're here, Proto, for this conversation, knowing that you've read the books, because that's part of like how, I don't know. That's what I want to know more from you is how did this feel like a true kind of, is this what you wanted? Like, is this what you would have wanted as the stories being told of Dune, for someone who's read the books? Like,
yeah, well, I feel like
not
I
so
don't
much
know.
how it ends. Like your scenes, like, is it going like, how is this telling? Like for me, I feel like after the second one comes out, I might actually enjoy this first one more, having a longer story that can continue.
I think in theory, I like the idea of staying true to the book and making it in 2 movies. But I think as a viewer, a movie lover watching it, I didn't feel like the same satisfaction that I feel from movies often, of just feeling like not robbed. I don't think robbed is the right word, but it just felt, it was a very strange feeling the way this movie ended, just knowing that it's not done. And it's not even ending at a place that feels like there's some completion.
I'm just cracking up looking at chat while this is happening. There is an emotional meltdown happening in chat because everyone was expecting that I would be the negative one. And we're just getting into some critiques here, folks. You know, we're all friends here. One of the highest rated movies in our Village history. I think it's at a 4.6, according to V'ger, for the average rating. So it's higher than Into the Spider-Verse, right? Is Lord of the Rings the first movie? I haven't seen it in a very long time. Does that feel like a complete film? Like H is in chat, potentially drinking his life away, hearing you two talk about the movie. But does that feel like a complete movie? Because he brought up Lord of the Rings as
as individual movies.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yes, but it's a different feeling though, because we know it's 3 movies based on the stories, the Fellowship, the Two Towers, and the Return of the King. So knowing that exists and how is happening, it's different. It's a different feeling when you get to the end of Fellowship, knowing that next December you're going to have Two Towers. So I don't know if it's a fair comparison, but that's how I felt. It is how I felt at the end of Dune Part 1. Is this kind of feels like the Fellowship kind of leaving Rivendell.
Yeah, and
or wherever.
Like I think there were some quotes coming out of our Dune episode from last year. We did the OG one where we were kind of like making jokes about how hard it would be to market this. You know, with Timothée Chalamet as the Kwisatz Haderach, and like no one's gonna know what that is. Why would I want to watch this movie? So I do get the critique that like it would be next to impossible for them to say that we're gonna make 2 movies actually about this IP that could fail big time, and give us the money for that. But, you know, maybe they should have just filmed them both at the same time. And maybe it would have been cheaper that way. And they could have curtailed a little bit of the kind of potential critiques about this being half a movie. That's like, well, actually, we got 2 movies coming out and it's going to be a great experience. So just buckle up and get ready for the second one. And some of the comments in chat would be like, well, actually 2 is coming. But you know what? When we saw the movie, you know, it wasn't really guaranteed at the time.
The comparison to the Lord of the Rings, I feel like I can't make that comparison because like now Lord of the Rings is just a completely different, you know, it's in a different world in my mind. Like they're all released. They've been out for years. I don't even know what I felt when I first saw those. I can't, and I don't think I could make a fair comparison, but I totally think it's fair if people say it kind of ends not as a complete story in the same way as this.
I thought the sign language was pretty rad. I don't remember that in the David Lynch movie. Is that in the books?
Yeah.
That was used a lot
they
of
have
this.
A secret Atreides language they do through hand signals.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Also, the voice stuff is I don't know. I was trying to think of I kept like referencing the Lynch movie because there's a lot of scenes
that's what I did too.
I was like, oh yeah, I remember this scene from the Lynch movie. That happens a lot. But what was the voice stuff in the Lynch movie? I don't even remember.
Silence! Doesn't he say that at one point? That might have been it.
It also
I don't
sounded. It also sounded pretty cool. You know,
It sounded amazing in theater, I thought.
Yeah, in theater it was nuts.
Like the way where it was like the like just the bait. You felt the bass first before there was like any tonal sounds. That was really cool.
Shook the chairs.
Yeah.
I wrote down just Timothy's name and
King.
King Tim. My comparison, I mean, obviously my only comparison for Timothy is the Lynch Paul. And I think Tim does a good job. I actually kind of like him as Paul.
I'm going to say it right now, I love Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
I love
I'm with
him.
you.
Even though a few scenes in this movie, he had hair like Jonathan Taylor Thomas from Home Improvement. He really needs to get a cut, I think, at some point. It's getting a little too wild.
Timothy Chalamet was the best choice to play Paul Atreides as Timothy Chalamet. Because this is the thing. Timothy Chalamet is a good actor. He is not a great actor. He plays Timothy Chalamet in all of his movies. He's the same person, but he's gorgeous to look at. You know, he's great to see on the screen, but he's like mumblecore lord. Like all of his lines.
How about the scene where he's mumbling to his mother 30 feet away when she goes to say goodbye to the witch den mother and they're having that conversation like outside? They're so far away, but they were mumbling the whole time.
Using the voice.
You steer the politics of the Imperium from the shadows. I know. Like all of his lines, like it's like he's in Lady Bird. This is him in Lady Bird. This is him in like Little Women. He's just like the same character. But I mean, it's okay because he looks great while doing it. But there are some lines I thought when we watched it again, me and Jenna were watching some scenes together. He has some like terrible deliveries in this.
Oh God!
Like when they like get back from the spice harvester scene, and Oscar Isaac's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Sorry, sir, won't happen again, sir." And he just like scoots off the screen. He just like I don't know. Like there were some scenes that were to me pretty poor, but by the end of it, he kind of wins you over. Yeah, I think like some of it works so well because he's charming. Like at the end, where it's him and Chani, and he goes and he says Chani, and she looks at him and he just says, "Never mind." Like that delivery is great because he's so cute and charming in that moment, and you're like, oh, he's like this. He feels like just like a teenager, just in over his head. So I think that's where it works really. How about that him without a shirt on? Is he like Chicken Little? I wonder if he's going to bulk up for part 2.
Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't have to, right?
What was how about his like underwear short knickers that he was wearing to bed?
Excuse me?
They were like above his knee, but they were also like skin tight. I don't know what he was
sleeping.
What? You have boxers that like go down your knees and they're attached to your leg?
I need you to, it's time to live, Slim.
Biker shorts, yes, Bex. That's what he was wearing.
Going to DMs later. I need to see this.
I'm just saying, I've never seen shorts like that before worn to bed. Let's see. Next on my list for the scenery. We talked about it a little bit. The scenery where he's brooding, going through like the tombs, like the graves, which was like one of the initial presser shots of him wearing, like a black cloak and black gloves, and you can see ships behind him. I thought that was like an amazing teaser shot that they released. I love those scenes. Him with the water in the background, the ships. It was gorgeous. It reminded me of Rogue One. It had the same cinematographer, I think, right? Greg Frazier. But some of that stuff just reminded me of why I liked Rogue One. Like it just looks so good. The inside of these houses, the House Atreides, where it's just like all stone or whatever. There's like nothing going on inside.
Carvings.
Yeah, all that stuff
unreal.
Looked great, I thought.
How about the Herald scene where he lands on Caladan? All of them guys coming out of the ship with the procession, the ceremony. Yeah, boy. I think those guys were the from the guild with the suit with the helmets on with the orange. Oh man, those guys look so great.
One of my notes that I don't want to miss is I need the person whose decision was to shave off
Fired.
Momoa's beard.
Get him out.
Fired.
Disgusting.
Because by the end of that movie, he looked like a baked potato in the poop suit. I was dumbfounded that they shaved his beard off.
Jason Momoa should never not have facial hair, in my opinion. I 100%
I loved
agree.
him. I loved his
I don't
look.
no. Without
Loved
the
it.
beard, no thank you. With the beard, yes. And I get Oscar Isaac's beard in this is as kingly as it gets. Like there's nothing better than that beard that Oscar has. But to shave it off of Momoa's face, I was kind of pissed off.
But I think that's a good thing because he's too iconic. Like you just know him as Jason Momoa with a beard.
I mean, that's almost everybody in this
him
movie, though.
a completely different look.
Rob says that happens in the book. He shaves his beard in the book.
Also, I was really surprised by this,
Tell me.
but Jason Momoa is probably my favorite performance.
Oh,
in this
really?
movie.
Nice.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just love. So Duncan is probably my favorite character in all of Dune.
Oh, cool.
So I was really worried about what his presentation was going to be, and then I hear Jason Momoa. Like what? So I was really pleased with just the way his performance was. I just thought all of his stuff was really cool. All of his, of course they're going to make the fighting look great, but just the way he carried himself, it was just like very believable to me. I just really liked him in that role.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did too. I agree with you. He's great in it.
I loved the pain box and the
pain box.
witch mother stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What's in the box?
I wanted way more of that stuff. The creepy,
It's a great
like
scene.
telepathic witch women, like the scenes that she was in, I thought it was great. I loved Timothy's reaction to her also.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wasn't kind of like bending to her will, really.
Yeah.
Like he was kind of like being like his dad a little bit.
Defiance in the eyes.
I wanted a lot more. I wanted a lot more of that stuff
Mm.
in the movie for sure.
And I think that was the scene, at least from Lynch's, that I was looking forward to the most in this, because I really liked the pain box scene. I liked it. So I was wondering how Timmy was going to kind of pull that off. And I think it's probably his best scene, for sure. It shows an entire range
Mm-hmm.
of what he can do, for sure.
Yeah, that seems great. I like the representation of I like how they were presented. Like anytime they were on the screen, this is my favorite shot. I'll put it in chat. Probably my favorite shot from the movie is just when you see a group of them outside of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The Bene Gesserit are my favorite group in Dune, and I would have loved if they got more screen time. They're just so fascinating and so cool.
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't have enough screen time, and just that shot alone, it's so small and short. Like just the black robes that they have on the screen, but it's so good. Like I just anytime they're just the way they're presented, it just felt very true to who they are. Especially, it felt very true to the book as well, because they become bigger players as the series goes on, and just the way they're presented here it felt very, very good and true to the story.
So part 2 is going to finish the end of book 1, right? Is that what the first Dune movie was? The Lynch one was just book 1?
Yeah. So, but who knows? I mean, it would be cool. So there's something really cool you could do with this, is that because he has visions of the future, and they do this a little bit where they sprinkle in just like the jihad that happens with Paul,
Mm-hmm.
they could show parts of the second book if they wanted to. They could show all kinds of stuff. And I'm kind of curious if Denny has that in mind, to even just tease. Like they could almost do like part of the second book with the second half. I'm really interested just to see how Denny is going to take this, because there's a lot of time. So he takes some liberties with this. There's some stuff in this that's just completely made up for this movie.
Really?
And I think it fits really well.
Like what?
What scenes were there? Well, of course, like the spider thing, people have talked about that.
It's like gross.
when they go to see the Sardaukar on the planet, like all that stuff there, that's all like you really just hear about the planet. I forget what it's called.
What's the Sardaukar? I don't remember that.
They're the emperors with the
upside down crucifixions.
With them reading with them chanting.
Their suits were great. That army, with the masks and the suit. It looks like maybe comic fans will understand this, but it looked like their entire uniforms and much of this movie was designed by Jerome Opeña, a comic artist. He did Fear Agent, but he did Uncanny X-Force.
Jerome's an amazing artist.
Next on my list, Rebecca Ferguson. You might know her from a little movie franchise, Mission Impossible.
Or The Greatest Showman, but yeah.
Never seen it.
Okay.
She's the greatest. She is the mother in this movie. She looks amazing. The costumes in this movie, we haven't really dwelled on it too much, but insane, ridiculous from the get-go. What did you think of Rebecca in this movie, Proto?
I think Rebecca did a great job. I don't know if I necessarily loved the character Jessica and how they portrayed her. I thought she seemed a little on the weak side.
She cried
her moment
for 90%
to shine. Yeah, she cries so much. Her moment to shine. My favorite part from the first book is when her and Paul meet with the Fremen. I've talked about this in the Dune or the Lynch episode, but when they meet, she has amazing interaction. You learn so much about the character in that moment, and it's not like they just don't give her the time that she deserves. I don't know why they showed it though. I think Denny wanted to have some kind of fight at the end. They didn't need to do it that way. It could have been done differently. And I wish that was her moment of the movie because she's such a cool character. And her scene when she uses the voice on the Harkonnen,
that was awesome.
That was awesome. More of that stuff.
I totally agree. I would have wanted way more of that. And I thought that was coming afterward because she does the voice thing on the helicopter and that crashes and they meet up with the Fremen. And I'm like, okay, cool. So now we get to see some she does a little mini fight to show that she's kind of a badass, but not enough because for the most part of her in this movie, I don't know. She reminded me of Jean Grey from the animated X-Men series. Every time Jean Grey had to use her powers, she was weak and under duress. Oh God, help me, Scott. And then every scene I saw her in, she was crying. She's crumbling. I don't know. I wanted a more full featured character from Rebecca Ferguson, at least in my opinion.
I agree.
I just enjoyed her. I think she's pretty great. I like her as an actress. So I already have rose-colored lenses when I watch Rebecca because I just kind of love her anyway. But I thought it was fine. That's the thing. I don't know the story, so I was just kind of along for the ride with her. And to me, it just felt like she was doing everything to protect Paul the entire time, which is fine. But it almost felt like a lot of hand-holding, which I don't know. It didn't feel right. But I just don't know any different.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll get some of that in part 2. I also just want to call out we're almost, at least for the live recording, we're about an hour in. The voicemails are going to be at least a half-hour segment. FYI.
Goodness gracious.
FYI.
Buckle up, baby.
So buckle up, baby.
How about some of the action? I mean, the Thopters, amazing.
Yeah.
All that stuff. The design of those looked incredible. I don't think you could have asked for a better, imagining of those. So cool. But, everybody's talking about the harvester scene. Watching that at home, I felt like it did not look good.
Really?
And maybe, I don't know, there's something about the sand, that image of them going out of the desert. It just, and of course this is a made up planet, right?
Correct.
But it just, I couldn't buy what I was seeing.
You mean the scene where it's harvesting the spice and then they have to try to lift it off and then they go in to save the crew?
But before that, they're you're just seeing the dunes as they fly out. And it was something like the color and just the I don't know. It just didn't really, I don't know. There was something off about that scene. And I felt like there were some things throughout this movie. It felt a little weird and off to me.
I had seen, so in the preview, Denny comes on and is like, I'm going to show you my favorite scene of the movie. And I actually had already seen that entire scene of them flying out, rescuing the crew, and then Paul, and then flying back. So I'd already seen that scene, and seeing it again on IMAX, I still kind of loved it. I don't know what it was. I think I just loved the bits of Paul stepping out and stepping on the sand for the first time, the spice kind of hitting him and him having a reaction to it, seeing his death. There's like, I think whispers of the Bene Gesserit in the background. Maybe I don't know what they said, but it's something like they were saying his name or something. I kind of liked that bit more than what was going on around them. I liked the kind of bits with Paul where he's dumped like in and out of dream scenes and kind of stuff like that. I liked that.
What did you think, Proto, of the body shield stuff? Because that was in the first movie. There's gifs of like them, with like blocks covering their body. In this one, what did you think in this version?
I really liked it. I liked the way that it was done. I didn't really feel like it took away from like the fight scenes. I feel like fight scenes are so chaotic to begin with. It was actually a kind of a cool effect to see, especially like the Duncan scenes where he's fighting the Sardaukar at the end.
Yeah.
And just where it would go from blue to red. And it was almost like it gave you like a different level of information about a fight that you wouldn't have.
Yeah.
It was just, it was cool how it communicated who's winning. I don't know. I liked it.
When he was fighting Brolin, and Brolin, like, the slow blade makes the kill or something like that because he slowly cut through the shield. I liked that. I liked it. But then one of my notes was, what is Brolin doing in this movie? Because I thought
Brolin stunk in this movie.
He really stunk in this movie.
Stunk up the joint.
What was he doing?
My God, he was terrible. Somebody rein him in.
Cow.
Denny. Pull him aside,
Please, direct
Brolin,
this movie, Denny.
I need you to pull back a little bit, pal.
Pull some strings or something.
Chewing the
scenery.
scenery.
He was yelling at Paul, like, come off it.
I didn't care for his character that much.
My gosh.
What did you think of Brolin?
I feel like I have no opinion of Brolin. I don't know. He's not like, that's a thing about this. Like, it's back to the whole emotions thing. I don't feel like I connected really with any of these characters or any of these performances. This movie is so, it was like it felt very cold.
Very melodramatic.
And of course, this is it. What it feels like is this movie is screaming in your face over and over again that this is epic, right? This is an epic story. Hear the epic music. Hear how gravely serious all the characters are in this. And it never swung the other way to show like humanity or emotion or like, I just didn't feel any of that. And it was like, I felt like, so Harakiri, a movie that's on such a smaller scale, felt way more epic than this, where this is so big and gigantic, but it doesn't have that human connection at all.
I was not expecting, so I just want to point out the chat again is in shambles right now because everyone has rated this 5 stars. We don't know what our ratings are yet, but everyone was expecting me to be the one to call out this stuff, and maybe Proto and Danny are still at 5 stars. I don't know, but my main thing, I called out Art from our Discord, dear friend of ours, his review. Art called out in his review. I didn't read everyone's review. I kind of scanned it. He pointed out that like he didn't have as much of an emotional connection to the characters as well. And that was the one review that like made me pick my eyebrow up. Like, because that was my main thing with Blade Runner, like the story, yada, yada, yada. Like I didn't care. And I felt like the rug was pulled under me. And I didn't care that much, like, obviously the Oscar is amazing. They have that cool scene with him, but like, I'm not really invested in Paul yet. Maybe that comes in part 2. But I just didn't have the time to like really feel like, I really want Paul to win here. You know what I mean? Like there's just no kind of like really great moment where I'm totally all in. And there was a few comparisons to Arrival, Denny's other film. And that's a movie I'm all in on. I'm all in emotionally on that film. Everything works and connects the way I personally want it. And this is just me. But I didn't have any of that stuff.
Thank you.
It just really bummed me out. Like because the hype, ahead of this movie, the hype is just absolutely nuclear. Like you cannot escape the hype for this movie. So I try to put that like aside. Everyone's rating it 5 stars. Everyone's saying, I'm seeing tweets. These kind of movies comes around every 20 years. Star Wars, The Matrix, Dune.
Come off it.
I don't even want to respond to that. I really was excited to hear, I think it was H or Jason say that like this is a return to Cecil B. DeMille movie making. So then I was like, oh, okay. Like I'm into that. So I was like really excited. But me personally, I did not have that view of this movie. There were comparisons to Lawrence of Arabia. So in that respect, I kind of did have the same opinion because Lawrence of Arabia visually was amazing. But emotionally, I didn't connect with Lawrence at all, at least in my viewing. So overall, visually, this is, visually, yes, stunning. But it's not a full movie to me. I didn't feel like this was a full story. The visions stuff, I felt like the visions kind of like, I get it. He's getting visions of Zendaya. Like I don't need to see these visions every 2 seconds. Let's show it maybe 2 or 3 times. I get it. There was, it's kind of like a rope-a-dope. Like she's not even in the movie. Why is she on a press tour? Like why is she there?
I know.
Why isn't the maid in the movie? She's in it as much as Zendaya.
Or even what was the name of the Fremen that showed them how to put on the poop suits?
Liet Kynes. Yeah.
She
was in half the movie. Yeah.
Give me press tour of her. I love her in this film.
So I'm going to watch part 2 because I'm hopeful that I get some kind of resolution and but I was let down. I just don't agree with any of the hype. And again, I haven't read the books. I love Denny, but it wasn't my vibe for this one.
My high points, I think I said in the beginning, my high points in this film are the set designs. I feel like the production in this film is as good as it gets. Every building they were in, every room, it felt lived in. It felt real. Like it felt like I could go to this place right now. Like this is in the desert somewhere. Like they filmed on location. That's what it felt like. The scale, the attention to detail to every little thing. I want to purchase the bull and matador statue for my office. Like there's so little things that I love. There's a great attention to detail in this film. I loved the attack on Arrakis. I think there's some really cool battle sequences, sci-fi battle sequences that we've not seen before in a film, like the bombs, slowly going through the shield to blow up the ship, and then the bomb like encapsulated in the shield for a second. Like that's some really cool, really smart visuals for telling another sci-fi story. Like that's actually something that feels new and fresh and great. But other than that, it's like we get to the end of this film and there's a knife fight and Paul's not going to die. Like that's what's annoying, that this is how it ends. A knife fight and then they walk off into the desert. And then I was just left with, I don't know. I like this. I just felt flatlined through this whole thing. I peaked, my emotions peaked at the conversation with Leto and Paul, with the Duke and Paul in the graveyard. And that was it. Everything else was just kind of flatlined for me. I'm 3 stars.
My God.
My God.
Wow.
My God.
Prado, what about you? Well, maybe I should give my starting because I don't know.
No. Let me go. Let me go. Let's do it in terms of who saw it when.
All right, go ahead.
So one other disappointment. This will be the last one. No Guild Navigators.
Oh,
we didn't get to see the Guild Navigators. I mean,
golly.
David Lynch gave us that Abomination. Why didn't we get the Guild Navigators?
They were so rad in that movie.
I mean, we're going to get them in part 2. I can guarantee you that. Denny, please. Also, something I love, like Danny was saying, the action sequences were fantastic. The las gun, that laser that was trying to shoot Duncan, Idaho. Oh my gosh. All the stuff, like the way the ships would balloon out. There were just so many details. This movie has so many amazing details. This world is amazing. Watching it in the theater was an amazing experience. I really loved seeing this in the theater. I don't think I could have asked, like, it's in terms of spectacle, it doesn't get much better than this. Like it was really great. I would say that the viewing at home wasn't as great. And that's the thing. I feel like I watched the movie, had a great time, but I kind of came down, and as I thought about it, for me, it's easy to pick apart, I guess. But I think it is great at what it does. So I'm a 4-star.
4 stars from Proto. Wow. I'm at 3.5 stars for Dune 2021. I thought I was going to be the lowest, but I'm pretty happy with second place. I don't have anything more to say to Dune. We have a lot of voicemails to get to.
Let's get into
where
it.
Everyone will probably say something different than most of our discussion. But I'm glad I watched it. You can leave us a VM or a letter, 70mmpod.com. We have links. Let me get to Jason's because I want to see what his prediction was for my rating. First ever VM from Jason, I think. Co-host of Dune Pod. What's the mental state of Dune Pod right now in chat?
I just pinned the mental state of Dune Pod, so if you want to look at that pen real quick.
Is it H saying who cares? Who gives a shit?
Is that his review of Dune? Wow.
I'm just, Marcy, I just want to call out Marcy. Marcy went through a lot of turmoil during the Hercules episode, and I'm taking a little bit of solace that the rest of Discord is now feeling a little bit of what Marcy felt during the Hercules episode.
God, sorry. I had something stuck in my throat. Hey, it's Jason from Dune Pod. I'm just so happy that you guys are talking about Dune. Really looking forward to hearing your thoughts. In general, it's just one of the greatest things about this movie finally coming out and people liking it is getting to hear everyone's opinions about the movie. I was thinking about, because we do recastings in our podcast, that I was thinking about who would the hosts of 70mm play in a filming of Dune. And some of them are pretty easy. Proto would be a sister of the Bene Gesserit, spiritual, guiding things from the shadows. And Danny, of course, would be as an artist and a father figure most closely aligned with Gurney Halleck, the Balisette warrior monk. But I don't really know who Slim would play, except that his love of hot dogs suggests maybe the worm. So we'll go with that. Old Man Eternity for Slim. Really looking forward to hearing the app, and love you guys. Bye.
Thank you, Jason. Jason is in chat. What was the prediction? Oh, here we go. 3.5 stars. He got it.
Oh my.
Wow.
Yeah. Who was Gurney again?
That was Brolin, wasn't it?
Brolin was Gurney?
Wasn't he Gurney?
He thinks I'm Gurney?
That's what you get, Danny.
God, chat did not like our Brolin comments.
I think Jason's in a coma, actually, after that conversation we just had. So.
Let's see. Who do we want to listen to next? Gosh, we got a lot of them here. Let's hear Fam. Let's get into Fam next.
Hey, what's up, 70mm? This is Fam calling in about the new Dune movie. I was pretty dead set on watching this at home on HBO Max, and then I got a call from Danny to catch it at the local IMAX, which was definitely a good move. I really enjoyed this movie, especially in IMAX. Just watching everything on the huge screen. Even though it was a desert, it just seemed like vast, and the movie the screen kind of made it look like that. A lot of the sounds with the bass when the worms were coming through, you definitely kind of felt it in your seat in an IMAX movie. Also, everything with the battles and the fleets coming in, you just kind of felt really small in this grand thing, and that definitely helped to be in the theater for that one. Enjoy the cast. The story was good, even though it barely touched on what the original movie touched on. I'm sure the sequels will expand from there. That is, I think, the shortest time of a hideout being unsecure. That she was literally saying that it's a secure hideout, and then people were calling from the ceiling and then stabbing everybody. So that was a little rough look for the hideout. Also, I want to know, what is the percentage, and maybe the village can help, of if the bad guy holds your partner, husband, or wife, if you do what they say, they will give them back. Because it's got to be like 2% on the max. There's no way. So you're telling me that the bulbous, viscous gooey looking bad guy didn't give the guy his wife back. Like, who could have foreseen that? Like, come on, man. That guy's a doctor. He should have known better. Yeah. So that was a bummer. But other than that, enjoyed the movie, and I can't wait to catch the next one. Thanks, guys.
Word of the night
about the Baron.
Viscous.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Why didn't we talk about Stellan Skarsgård? Oh, my gosh.
Baron.
Hey, what was the other wrestler's name?
Dave Bautista.
Batista.
Oh, yeah.
What a joke.
I thought he was good. You didn't like Batista?
Everyone's yelling in this movie.
Who had a better nude scene?
Brolin.
The Baron or the Duke?
Why was the Duke naked? I mean, everyone in the chat's going to be like, well, Oscar's naked. We don't need a reason. But like, I don't remember. What was the reason, actually?
Why not?
All right. Never mind.
Dear 70 millimeter.
Uh-oh.
It's Ben, and I am currently in my car en route to go see Dune in the IMAX. Don't know what I'm going to think about this movie, but I would like to simply state how appreciative I am of you guys and the community that has been built via the VHS Village, because I really wouldn't have been as excited about this movie had it not been for the the hype that everybody in the village has for it. I really didn't give a rip about Dune until I got into this village and then got sucked into the book, and none of that would have happened, and none of my excitement would have happened if it wasn't for you guys. So thanks for giving me something to look forward to. I'll see you on the other side.
Well,
Ben, glad to have you.
Welcome, Ben.
Welcome, Ben. We all go through it at least once. You'll go through it during the Dune episode.
What's up, 70 millimeter? This is Ian,
my
first-time caller, long-time listener. I know I haven't left a voicemail in a long time, but I've basically been waiting for you guys to discuss a movie film that is so important and monumental. And obviously, it had to be this one. I mean, this is honestly one of the best movies I've seen all year, maybe in my life. Top tier performances across the board. The way they made the texture of the sand jump off the screen, I felt like I could feel it on my hands. The relationship between families, father, son, mother, son, the way the choreography made the knife fight sequences feel so intense and coming to terms with what the future holds for a person. But honestly, I mean, I'm sure you'll talk about this. I was most impressed with M. Night Shyamalan's ability to continue to innovate as a director and a screenwriter. I cannot wait till Old Part 2.
Oh, God. Got him. Got him. Got everybody.
Oh, gosh. Amazing.
Ian, thanks for the VM. God, old. Can you imagine us doing an old episode?
I don't. There's no way.
The amount of notes Bretta would take for an old episode might rival Matrix Reloaded.
Testing 1, 2. This one goes out to a certain somebody out there who owes me a bit of money due to the Dune Part 2 being officially announced.
Oh, gosh. Someone's collecting.
So would you like that drink? Fine, yeah, I know. I remember that too. In that channel room, right? We began to fight, but then we both got confused.
Is this an ancient songbook?
This is a songbook song.
Laughing and crying and all at the sides of the tune.
Get it? Yes. Okay.
Fine, you're right, but I wonder what it feels like. Stop feeling so alive.
Is this Eddie Vedder?
We can wake up in 5 years and things will be Dune too, alright? I wanna visit the future and dance in the sand at night. Don't know what I'm afraid
Next verse.
of, but I'm afraid.
Verse 2, everybody sing along.
It all will fall away. Maybe but still at sea.
God damn.
Did you sing this once?
Sits in idle curiosity. Thank you so much. Dune Part 2 coming October 2023.
Cripes. I don't know what bet you made with someone that you had to sing a song and send that in, but I'm probably going to ban that person tonight.
Oh, gosh.
Get out the band stick.
The band. Thank you, Shantana.
Oh, gosh.
That's my Dune.
This is Nausicaa, baby.
That was Wes. So
Thank
Wes,
you, Wes.
Wes posted
Wow.
his review, and I think it opened up a little bit of a floodgate. He posted 3.5-star review, and I think people started to sweat a little bit. But he specifically called out Nausicaa.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
remember Nausicaa?
Oh,
That's
What a
how you.
movie.
That's how you do it.
that changed me.
I looked back at my review and I said Dune, but good.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, she's an amazing character in that movie. Holy cow!
Oh, man.
Let's see who we got here. Got Sean from Colorado calling back.
Hey, it's your old pal Sean from Colorado. Now Sean from Maine.
Been a while.
Long-time Patreon, long-time caller,
Mhm.
long-time listener.
Mhm.
I know it's been a
OG.
while since I've called in or anything like that, but I heard today that it is the Dune 2021 episode as well as one of the Matrix movies. Can't remember which one. I know Danny's probably going to scoff at me for that, but that's all right. Just wanted to say, gentlemen, that even though it's been long and it's been a while, I do appreciate everything. I've been catching up on all the episodes. I'm trying to keep this voicemail a little bit short. I know I'm supposed to keep it under a certain amount of time. But anyways,
Thank you.
thank you guys for still pushing through everything. Thank you guys for still being around. And I can't wait to listen to this episode. Hope you guys are staying safe and having a good time. And I'll be down in Danny's neck of the woods next month,
Excuse
celebrate
me.
my 40th birthday. So catch
40.
you guys later.
Oh.
Bye.
40th birthday at Disney. Is that what I'm hearing for Sean from Maine?
40th for the 50th. Look at that.
My God.
Stars aligning. Good
What's
to hear
the
from
state
Sean.
of Disney right now for the anniversary?
Shambles. I don't know. I haven't gone yet.
Hey, 70mm crew. It's Small Tony, aka Not Jadakiss,
Tony.
aka
Small
John, my real name. And I decided it's finally time to leave a voicemail on this historic night.
Thank you.
Dune 2021. What a movie. Really one of my favorite movies I've seen in a couple years. And as much as I want to wax poetic about how awesome this movie is, I think enough people will take care of that. So I just wanted to take a minute to really shout out the crew and shout out the VHS Village. I found this podcast a few months ago, and it's really been like such a blessing in my life. It's provided me endless entertainment and joy, and being a part of the Village has been a privilege and something that I really value. So having that opportunity has been really special, and I don't take it for granted. So to everyone out there who's thinking about joining the Village, I encourage you to take the plunge. It's just been an awesome thing. So like Chani said, this is only the beginning. I'm really looking forward to all the future endeavors, and, you know, shout out to the Village. Thank you.
God.
Wow.
Small Tony.
Thank you, Tone.
Small Tony, thanks for joining. We appreciate you. I continually am in awe of how we're able to bring people into the Village, and it it doesn't feel like a whole, but it adds a piece to their life that maybe they didn't realize they were missing. I thought he was going to give a shout out to the Dune cast in his voicemail, but then he was talking about
Dunecast, you have changed my life.
production design of this movie. Never thought I'd need it. Let's see here. There was something I was going to say. I was going to leave a comment on something Remnant said. Remnant pointed out the Babes in Toyland episode. Remember that won the vote?
Oh my God.
And I accidentally, like, it hit play. I think I was testing out our Patreon feed, and I hit it for whatever reason. It started playing that episode. I forgot that we had Dale record an apology to start that episode. Remember?
Oh my God, that was great.
Because the movie was so bad. Oh God, that was hilarious.
Flew too close to the sun.
We did.
What's up, 70 millimeter? It's Lex. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, baby.
I've been busy with my own projects, and I've been working my way through the massive backlog of episodes of this podcast that I've built up. But most importantly, I've been out cultivating desert power on the sand planet Arrakis, also known as Dune. This movie is phenomenal, to say the least. I haven't been so engrossed by a studio film since probably Denis' last film, Blade Runner 2049. And I am so glad that this is getting a sequel, because when the lights came on and the credits rolled, I was absolutely ready to watch another 2 hours of some of the most tactile and awe-inspiring filmmaking that I've seen in at least the last few years. This is absolutely a 5-star banger. And I can't wait to see Danny's art for this episode.
God, it's unreal.
So, yeah. Keep up the good work. Bye.
What do you think Lex is going to think of this episode?
He's still going to have faith in us.
Never not have faith.
Not be the first time pissed off at us. Should we just redo this app? This feels terrible. Everyone's mad at us. Maybe we should just like do it all over again, but just say the opposite.
Remember, I think Art asked what was the most recent new release we had done. What was it? What did Art say? But Zack Snyder's Justice League, I think, is the most recent one. I remember. Remember that? That was an app. That was an experience.
That was a
But they got probably 13 stars.
That had a lot of stars for that one. God, I was blown away by that movie. I had such low expectations. Remember the Flash scene at the end where that music kicks in? Oh my God. New Dune fans listening to this right now, if they've stuck around, they're hearing us positively talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League.
No one's made it this far.
That phone is in a fireplace right now. I just got word that there's an Easter egg. If you go to Dune, both movies on your Letterboxd, there's an Easter egg that's available on there. I'll say no more.
Wow.
Let's see. Who did I leave out here? We got Sean. We got both Seans. We have Fam. Let's get Marcy in here.
Hey, 70 millimeter. It's Marcy. I'm calling in because I saw Dune this weekend twice, and I had to say, I don't think we're ever going to get anything like this in our lifetimes again. The sheer beauty, how breathtaking it all was. I mean, absolutely stunning. And obviously, I'm talking about Oscar Isaac's beard here. My goodness. What a man and what a beard. We don't deserve it. And I really hope we get more of it in the future. We shall see, though. Anyways, can't wait to hear the discussion this week. I'm very interested to hear everyone's thoughts. Hope you guys all loved it as much as The Village did, it looks like. But yeah, can't wait for the show. All right, talk to you guys soon. Bye.
God, the love for Dune. There's more love for this movie than I think any other movie we've covered in our entire existence.
I really couldn't believe the rewatches that were flowing in.
Mm-hmm. A lot of it.
There's probably more rewatches than first watches, of like multiples. People are watching it like 2 or 3 times
to figure it out. But you're right.
You're probably right, yeah.
I don't know. I think it's fascinating that HBO Max ended up creating such strong buzz for this movie. I don't know if that would have happened if it was just a theatrical release. Like, I see this a lot when people talk about pirated comics, where they find out that, so-and-so was downloaded like 100,000 times. And they say this is like, well, that's $100,000 sales. That's 100,000 sales lost. No, it's not. 98% of those people probably were not going to buy your product. They're just reading it and downloading it because they can and it's free. So I don't know. I would love to know what this movie would have done with no HBO Max. Maybe it would have added $20 more million or something like that. And then it would have been officially greenlight. I don't know. It would have been interesting to find out. I mean, you are paying $15 a month for HBO Max anyway, so maybe it would have translated. Who knows? Final VM. Not sure if he's even still conscious after the discussion. Let's find out.
Proto, Danny, Slim, it's H.
He's here.
I'm like on pins and needles over here. I'm so much more nervous about how you guys will react to the film than I was even about how I would react to the film or the general world. I'm sure it's going to be fine. I'm sure it's all going to be good. It's a good movie, and I hope you had fun with it.
Agree.
I really hope that you enjoyed it. Slim, I'm speaking to you right now. I respect you. Whatever your final determination is, at least they didn't say "what Deeb," never uttered in the film. So hopefully that worked for you. Thanks for everything you guys do all the time. You guys are always the standard by which we are all measured. We love you. Cheers.
Love you too, H. We made it through. We always make it through together. These are just film opinions. It's not the end of the world. Maladib. Oh, one other thing, one negative comment I want to make.
Get it in there real quick.
The still suits.
Yeah.
The same line I had trouble with in the Lynch movie where Max von Sydow was like, you've worn a still suit before.
Oh, yeah.
They do it in this movie too. It's a leather suit. There's no designation that like, oh shit, you worn this before.
Timothy's delivery. No, first time.
I thought of you right away, Slim.
I couldn't believe
when she
that was
said
in
the
this.
line. I was like, oh my God, I need to see Slim's face when he sees this line.
I was like looking around in my theater, waiting for someone to also look at me and like, I can't believe they just said that. Yeah.
You're wearing it desert style.
I would, yeah, but it's like a strap over their ankles. Like he tied a strap around his ankle, so automatically he's an expert in a leather suit. Delete this. Listen, it's over. We don't have to ever talk about this again. Proto gave it 5 stars or 4 stars, right? That's a positive.
Yeah, it was I'm the good guy here.
I'll be the bad guy. It's fine. Let me be the bad guy.
He's like the Dark Knight at the end of that movie. He's hobbling running away, and Gordo is making that speech. He'll be the whatever that line is.
Hero.
Whatever that line is. That famous line that we all know. We'll chase him because he knows we have to. And then he rides off in the light. We still have a lot of stuff to announce here. Danny's got
we got business to take care of. My gosh.
Damn. Long night. So we have Halloween is over. Halloweenies month. We have plans for November. It's a long night. I'm sorry. We have plans for November. Danny somehow has ended up being the first movie pick for every month for the last year. And Danny told us that I'm bringing a guest on. I don't give an F. And Proto and I were like, okay. So we don't know the movie. We don't know the guest. We don't know Danny's schemes. So I think it's time to find out more info.
Proto planning this next month. He dropped kind of like a fall vibes month. And of course, I am all about fall vibes, This is my favorite time of year. It's the time when I get to watch my favorite movies. So the fall vibe movie and guest, You've Got Mail with my dear wife, Casey.
Oh my God.
Okay,
what?
Okay.
Excuse me.
It's time.
Dang. Oh, wait,
Casey
you didn't say
will be
Sleepless
on.
in Seattle. You said
No.
You've Got Mail. Okay.
You've Got Mail with my dear wife, Casey. And we're going to talk about one of our favorite movies, one of our fall vibe movies. I mean, we watch this every November for as long as I can remember. Love this movie. So excited to kick off this November.
My God, this is how we heal.
This is great.
This is the healing we need.
Mm-hmm.
Tom.
After 2021's Dune.
Tom and Meg. It's time. Nora Ephron.
Meg. Casey and Chad, I'm ready to help recover everyone from the Dune app.
Yes. Ian, you've got mail, babe.
I don't know if I've seen this movie in the last 30 years. So maybe I have no recollection. I think they do email. And
I looked, and you don't have a review or a saying that you watched it.
Wow.
And Proto only has that he watched it. So I'm very excited.
Oh, God.
I know there's no way he's getting out of not watching that movie with Jenna.
Oh, God.
Oh, Jenna has been waiting for this moment. She's always been saying, why do you guys pick such bad movies?
It's time, Jenna.
When I tell her we're watching this.
There you have it. I'm excited to watch that. I'm excited to finally put Casey under the lights for a few topics. Topics I have to ask Casey about. And now we'll get it on the record officially. So stay tuned.
It's time.
Proto, we did it. The most anticipated movie of the last 21st century. We've made it through. Please take us into next week.
All right. So, I tried to add some levity early on with a joke. I've got two more jokes.
Okay, let's go.
These are just, I'm workshopping here. I'm not a comedian. How does a cow call shotgun in an ornithopter?
How?
Moo I deeb.
Okay.
Okay, that's the first one.
Okay.
Second joke. On Caladan, the Atreides do not have cocktail hour, but desert hour.
Stupid.
$70mm is a tape deck production with original artwork provided by Danny Haas. Spiritual guidance provided and V'ger, the robot who loves movies, created by Protolexis. Producer Emeritus Dale_A. Transcripts provided by Sophie Shin. Prints and other merch are available on 70mmpod.com. This episode was mixed, edited, and produced by me, Slim. Support our Patreon for access to our VHS Village Discord to talk movies with new friends and access to exclusive episodes, discounts on merch, and a physical membership card mailed to you. To check out other Tape Deck podcasts, find the link in the episode notes. And if you'd like to support our friends at Letterboxd and upgrade to pro or patron status, you can do so with a 20% off discount using the links on 70mmpod.com. Goodbye.
This is a Tape Deck podcast.